Welcome to another episode of Pitch Cafe. Pitch Cafe is a place where talent meets coffee, and we are all about having a fun conversation over a cup of coffee. Today, our discussion is all around negotiation. Before I start with this topic, I want you guys to think about negotiation. What is negotiation and why is it so important? I just heard from a fresh graduate that he's trying to negotiate a good salary with Facebook. And over the past 5 years or so, I've been working with so many people who have applied to Google. After several rounds of interview and several rounds where the entrant is judged on many capabilities, including creative skills, out-of-the-box thinking skills, programming, networking, you name it. There's this one particular point where when a candidate gets scored and they want to get hired, they have to negotiate a good salary. Negotiation is not just about salary. Negotiation is about many aspects which are inherent to our life. Today I am like a startup founder, a solopreneur myself. I have to negotiate the extra time I am giving to my startup with my family. That is the first point where I start negotiating. I say, hey, today is Saturday. I know we were supposed to go out, but I have to do this podcast or I have to do this recording. Could we postpone our trip by 1 hour? So my family is going to ask me, why is this so important? What happens in return? How will you compensate for it? So you need to have an answer. This is the very first negotiation. The second negotiation, it comes with your interaction with outsiders, outside your family. So if I want to take a couple of days off with my boss or with my prospective client, I need to negotiate those extra 2 days with them. I'll be like, okay, I have an on situation shoot, but hey, look, I have this family outing I have planned for many months. I really need to go. When I come back, I'm going to have these fresh perspectives. Let's take a quick break for 2 days and then we'll get together. So this is a different kind of negotiation. So negotiation is not only at individual levels, it is happening between companies. Did you know that Google bought several hundreds and thousands of patents from Motorola because they didn't want to get into a lawsuit or a negotiation with them? They bought several features from Motorola, but the way they went about doing that was they purchased all the patents. They did not want to negotiate individual fights. They didn't want to pick individual features and get into a fight with them or negotiate with them. So negotiation happens in different ways. So as a youth entrepreneur, what are all the places where you negotiate? You negotiate your startup's exit. How many $1 million or $1 billion is my startup valued at? How much stake will I get as a founder? How much stake will go to the employees? So this is another kind of negotiation. I'm not going to stop at this. If you look at, heads of nation states, if you look at, President of the United States or the Prime Minister of Canada or the UK, they are negotiating several $1 billion of deals, or they're negotiating control over borders. They're negotiating control of freight. They're negotiating control of weaponry. Negotiation is happening at many levels, even at the levels of nations. So this is a very important trait for you to learn. Learn it young. Learn it now so that you don't have to bear the weight of not being able to get a good salary or not getting paid or not getting the worth of your dollar. So the first thing about negotiation, the very first point about negotiation you need to know is, are people born naturally as negotiators, or is there some secret sauce or recipe, you can learn it? I think it works both ways. I have interacted with people who are intuitively good negotiators, but negotiation is a skill which can be learned, it can be perfected, and it can be mastered. So the very first thing about negotiation is, do you know the party very well with whom you're negotiating? Do you know everything about them? Sometimes, you're walking on a street and there is some person who's causing problem to you and is blocking your way. You want to negotiate him to clear the way. I'm not talking about that kind of negotiation. That is, you require thinking on the feet. Even then, having a good framework for negotiation is very, very handy. It's going to take you a long way. But let's talk about a negotiation where you have time to plan. Let's say you're going to go meet a large corporation, and you are a consultant and you are getting a small consulting gig with them. How are you going to negotiate with them? Let's say you're going to go and discuss something with your company, let's say Ola. It's they are all about taxis in India, and you're building a new app and you want to deploy it with them. So have you researched everything about Ola? Let's say you are negotiating with Uber. Do you understand what kind of cutting edge technologies Uber uses, and has your app been outcompeted by them? What kind of people make the decisions of buying your app, giving you business? So research everything there is about the company with which you are negotiating. Learn everything about them, starting with why the company was founded, what is their pet peeve, what do they love to sell, what is their brand, and also learn about the market rates of the service you're offering. So usually services offered by first timers, they're slightly priced lower because you're offering a discount, you're trying to get more connections, you're trying to become more popular, get more customers. So the pricing should be slightly low if you're a first timer. But if you're offering a lot of value to the other party, then you can slightly price your product higher. If let's say there is a heavy rain, there is no taxi around, and this person desperately needs to get to the airport, that time if you look at the Uber or Ola taxi rates, they're going to be super high because this person really needs to get to the airport and there's no taxi around, and they're going to surge, the price is going to surge. So when you're negotiating, first of all, research everything there is to know about the other party. And from your end, the second thing you need to do is you need to be ready with the pricing. If you're a first timer, you can probably offer lower rates, but you need to be aware of the rates which are offered in the market. What is a person who's 10 years in the business offering? What is a person who is maybe he's built something outdated? What is he offering? So you're bringing in something new, that is the value you're adding. So what are you offering? So you need to have this landscape of pricing in mind when you go for negotiation. That is the second tip I would like to offer you when you go for negotiation. The third tip, which I think most people neglect, is the entire process of negotiation. If you have not mastered the process, how does this person hire? How does this company hire? How long does it take? Who are all the people in the decision making chain? Who is the most influential person with whom you need to gain visibility? What are all the things you need to gain visibility? This way you are completely razor sharp targeted on that one person who is going to give you the deal, who is going to give you a good price. So this is your third tip to negotiation. The third tip to negotiation, as I just explained, is that you need to be fully aware of the process. Master the process. Once you master the process of hiring, of this negotiation, who's making the decision, who's offering the deal, just be patient and normalize this process. Everybody takes 6 months to get hired. Can you do something to get hired in 4 months? So these things go together. The process of understanding how negotiation is going to work, and then can you optimize it? So this is your next tip for negotiation. There are plenty of tips. I will cover negotiation again in the next episode, but the last tip for today from me in this episode of Pitch Cafe, where I'm discussing trends which will impact startup founders, trends which are very useful to youth entrepreneurs, whether they are in college or whether they are doing their own startup or whether they're offering a gig to someone, is this is all about negotiation. You're negotiating your time, your price, and your entire value. So the last thing for today in this particular episode, which I want to talk about during negotiation, is be honest when you're negotiating. Lay the facts and be honest. So I know a lot of people who use incorrect facts. They kind of just blow things up, white lies kind of thing. But if you are involved with an organization where you're going to get repeat business, there are some organizations who have been calling me, in my own career. I quit my full-time job in 2015, and since then have been on my own. And some of the clients call me every year, every 6 months they call me. The reason is I'm very honest with them. I tell them, hey, look, this is a crunch time. I really need to get paid. I can only do so much for free. I can only offer so much discount. Just be honest with them. So for long-term relationships, this is very, very important that you're honest with the person you're negotiating. For short-term interactions, negotiation, there are various techniques. Some techniques which I'll try to cover in the next session is, if you go and look at a booth in a conference, and let's say there is a startup which is very fresh, they are still building the product and they're really struggling hard to get visibility. One way you can kind of get away with this looking big thing, you can look bigger than you are. Nobody needs to know how small you are. When you're in a booth or when you're out there networking with really hotshot people, you don't have to tell them how small you are or what your struggles are. But you can appear confident and you can appear strong and competent, because you are competent in what you do, and that's why you're there looking out for a deal or offering a service. So you can appear big, you can appear strong, but when you're doing your interactions, try to be as straightforward as you can, because if you are looking for long-term interactions, long-term repetition, your work ethic, your being able to be honest and lay the facts and being transparent, it will build up a good repetition for you in whichever market you are. So this is my last takeaway for today. With that, I hope you enjoyed this particular section on negotiation. In the next section, I'll give you a few more tips, but I hope that you'll be able to negotiate really good salaries, really good price for your time, and you will come out with flying colors. Thank you so much. This is your host Vidyangi Patil again, and wishing you a lot of scale and success. Ciao.